absolute aesthetics and beauty of this town and the opportunity to live on the water, to have a walkable city with attractions and history and museums and art and culture all within this short distance is just an amazing thing. This is paradise.
In the spring of 1753, 2,000 French Marines and their native allies, led by Captain Paul Marin, set out on an expedition from Montreal to the Ohio country.
The French decided it was their mission to try to cut off the English who were creeping west from the colonies, trying to get into the Ohio Valley. They decided a good strategy would be to start at Erie, Pennsylvania and build a string of forts down French Creek and the Allegheny River that would blockade the progress of the English. So they built their first fort in Erie, Pennsylvania. Essentially before Erie was here, it was called Presque Isle, and then continued their forts down the French and Allegheny Rivers system, terminating at Fort Duquesne, where Three Rivers is now.
The French fort lasted only 6 years before it was burned and the site abandoned to the British in 1759 during the French and Indian War. The British subsequently built and garrisoned a new fort at Presque Isle, but that, in turn, was evacuated just 3 years later, in 1763, under threat from a resurgent band of Native Americans during the rebellion known as Pontiac's Conspiracy. In 1795, 14 years after Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown, a Pennsylvania survey party plotted a new city adjacent to the site of the old French and English forts. It was named Erie.
Well, Erie's roots are a maritime city or a maritime town. Prior to the War of 1812, there were 100 people here at best. It was a frontier village. The decision to build the fleet here for the War of 1812 brought 400 or 500 shipwrights to Erie, Pennsylvania, and enormously increased the size of the town.
The squadron that was commanded by Oliver Hazard Perry was built here in Erie, emergency wartime construction. They needed it yesterday. It was a crash rush effort, and it succeeded brilliantly.
Under the leadership of Captain Oliver Hazard Perry, the Americans defeated and captured the British fleet in the Battle of Lake Erie, a turning point in eliminating British influence in the Northwest and Great Lakes regions.
Two of the best-known phrases in U.S. naval history, "Don't give up the ship," and "We have met the enemy and they are ours." They're both associated with this battle, with the Battle of Lake Erie and the U.S. brig Niagara.
Chance and circumstance come together in the development of a community.
Erie grew from the lake, or in essence grew from the sea. The Great Lakes are the inland seas of the North American continent. It was the path to the heartland of this continent, the key to its development. And Erie for Pennsylvania was the one port that had a strategic position on that route. This city was for so long was based on its harbor. And harbors are God-given, but ports are man-made. It's that interface between water and land that requires engineering, requires capital, requires a built-up design, breakwaters, dredge channels, all of that to make it possible to bring ships in. And that's your connection to the rest of the world, to the rest of the lakes, to so much of the rest of the continent. This was a major fishing port. This was a major transit port. It got later eclipsed by the growth of larger ports, but Erie grew from its harbor. That's why Erie was Erie.
In its early years, the city served as a vital hub in the salt trade between New York and the Ohio Valley.
One of the major trade items was, in the days before refrigeration, salt was an essential product. Salt came from Syracuse, which is also known as Salt City. It would go to Buffalo at the end of the Erie Canal and then be picked up by schooners and brought to Erie, Pennsylvania. In the 1840s, a canal was built to extend the Erie Canal from Erie to Pittsburgh, which was in need of salt. So one important trade route was salt would come from Syracuse to Erie on schooners, would get put on canal packets in Erie, Pennsylvania, lifted up over the escarpment ridge and taken down to Pittsburgh and replaced with coal that would come back here.
During the 1850s, the port also grew into one of the leading freshwater fishing centers in the country.
first commercial fishermen fished from shore, and then they adapted special sailboats to go and tend nets. And then, of course, the logical extension of that was boat building with small steam engines to go out and tend the nets, which you could take further and further offshore. And by the early 1910s and 20s, there were 140 or 150 tugs registered in this area, and there were 16 different fish processors.
Commercial fishing contributed to the support of shipbuilding, ice houses, and engine and boiler manufacturers. Beginning in the 1860s, new refrigeration methods combining salt and ice enabled fish to be shipped by rail to such distant markets as New York City. Docks were also built in the 1860s to handle coal and iron ore, and the first grain elevator in Erie was built in 1867. During its peak period in 1945, the elevator loaded over 26 million bushels. New metalworking industries appeared in mid-19th century that manufactured plumbing and steam fitting products to support the oil industry, geared locomotives for the lumber industry, and parlor stoves for home heating. There was even a horseshoe plant that produced 35,000 shoes daily and employed 300 workers.
One of the really amazing things about Erie, Pennsylvania is as the steam business started to pick up, the steam shipping on the lake, we quickly became known as the steam and boiler capital of the world. So if you were to ask yourself what everybody in Erie, Pennsylvania was doing to make a living, they were involved in shipping, loading, unloading, and in the peripherals to make the steamships work. So we had boiler manufacturers here, we had boiler makers and steam engine manufacturers here. And if you were looking to see some of the most innovative things that ever happened in the use of steam, they happened in Erie, Pennsylvania.
By 1940, at the beginning of World War II, Erie's population was nearly 117,000, more than twice the number who lived here in 1900. And the city had grown to become one of the 75 largest in the nation.
One of the wonderful things that happened in Erie as a component part of its ethnic identity is Irish people came here and they loved it here and they stayed here and they got involved in stevedoring, building the Erie Extension Canal. If you think about these canals and the way they were created by human beings, it was like take a shovel and some dynamite and dig a ditch from here to Pittsburgh and use natural water to supply and enrich the ditch. So for as long as we look at the history of Erie, there have been people thinking, well, this can't last. And what's going to happen when this is over? And what always seems to happen when it's over is the maritime business created steam and boilers, and machining, and people that knew how to man factories in the industry. And then we had an industrial presence here for years and years and years. And as that has slipped away, all of a sudden other things pop in. I look at the things that are happening on the Bayfront Highway. I think about Presque Isle, tourism, the convention center. I'm really optimistic. I'm sure that we're gonna figure out how to do the next thing, and we're gonna do it well.
In 1913, General Electric's new Erie plant built a gasoline-electric locomotive. It was the first of thousands of locomotives, railway systems, and propulsion equipment that the company would produce for worldwide railroad, transit, marine, and mining industries. General Electric's transportation division quickly grew into Erie's largest employer.
Erie Insurance was founded in 1925 and was destined to provide a profound impact on the future of Erie, Pennsylvania. On the very first day of our operations, we wrote 11 auto policies. Today we operate in 11 states in the District of Columbia and write 3.8 million policies and $4 billion in premiums. Erie employees are passionate and compassionate people. They enjoy serving others. It's just a natural part of who they are. They bring their family values to work each and every day. Those same employees that we have at Erie Insurance, the people factor is what makes Erie, Pennsylvania such a great community.
Erie Management Group is dedicated to fostering and capitalizing on the economic opportunities available in the Lake Erie region. EMG manages companies with innovative products and prospects for growth, assisting entrepreneurs not only financially, but also with management, recruitment, contacts, and facilities.
You can go out and start your own business, and there are plenty of people who are more than willing to help you, like Erie management that will help you get off the ground, and if you need it, provide some assistance.
Included in its portfolio are Lake Erie Biofuels, a supplier of biodiesel fuel, and BioPreserve, a manufacturer of environmentally friendly wood coating products. Successes such as these reflect the ability to supply a skilled, proficient workforce. Just as important, they are predicated upon the ability to offer a lifestyle that can attract people from across the country.
Well, Logistics Plus is a global transportation company based in Erie, Pennsylvania. It has about 150 employees and about 300 customers in about 50 countries. We have a great feeder system from the 5 colleges in the area. And a lot of these kids come to work for us because they hear about us as a young, exciting global company. And so we're kind of the poster child for that, I think.
4 resources of higher education are available in Erie, where nearly 12,000 students pursue their undergraduate and graduate degrees.
I think the future in Erie is very bright. We have some wonderful educational opportunities, and what our hope is that a lot of those students are staying in Erie and being productive members of our community.
Mercyhurst College is a Catholic liberal arts school with an enrollment over 3,000 and a faculty of 124. Founded in 1926, the college is located on a 70-acre campus that encompasses over 57 buildings. 50 majors are offered at the college and 67 concentrations, including renowned programs in archaeology and criminology.
I did receive both my undergraduate and graduate degrees from Mercyhurst College, and I think that gave me a wonderful foundation for my work that I do.
Gannon University is a private co-educational Catholic university offering associate's, bachelor's, and master's degrees, certificates, and doctoral degrees. Located in the heart of Erie's downtown, enrollment is 3,800 with 181 full-time faculty members.
There's great colleges in the area. I mean, there's a ton of different opportunities, and the colleges offer a lot of different programs.
Edinboro University of Pennsylvania, only 18 miles from Erie, is located on a spacious 585-acre campus that includes a 5-acre lake and 42 buildings. More than half of the faculty members of the university have earned doctoral degrees or the highest degrees available in their respective fields. The student-faculty ratio is 18:1. Penn State Erie, the Barron College, has an enrollment of approximately 3,700 and is located on a 725-acre campus.
I think the Barron campus is one beautiful example of what's going on in our community. The opportunities that are currently available, and it's a wonderful campus and a wonderful place to be.
We have a lot of programs that deal with business and industry here at Barron. And this is an excellent opportunity to get on the cutting edge of technology that the companies want out of these students.
The college completed construction of the Research and Economic Development Center, a 160,000 square foot building housing the Sam and Irene Black School of Business and the School of Engineering and Engineering Technology.
I think one of the things that attracts people to Barron is not only the Penn State name, but just the campus itself, the types of things that they hear that the campus is doing, not only academically, but there's a lot of things in the community that Barron is doing. So I think that attracts people to us.
The state-of-the-art facility is providing innovative minds with enriching experiences. It is progressive and nationally recognized.
Students come here because they like the size of our program, and we have a very good engineering program here. Our graduates go work for companies, local companies or companies all across the country.
The campus also includes Knowledge Park, a 200-acre site dedicated to research and development for community-based companies that benefit from the college's superior technological infrastructure and its strengths in applied research. Erie is home to 2 nationally ranked hospitals, Hammett Medical Center, and St. Vincent Health Center that serve regional referral centers for the 1.5 million people living in southwestern New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, and northeastern Ohio. The exceptional quality of care afforded by these providers is routinely recognized by independent ratings organizations, including U.S. News and World Report. One of the most reputed osteopathic medical schools in the nation, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine and its School of Pharmacy, are also headquartered in Erie. Approximately 50 primary care physicians and pharmacologists graduate from the college each year. The Regional Cancer Center, a joint venture of Erie's 2 hospitals, offers leading-edge medical oncology, hematology, and radiation treatment for cancer, including the Trilogy treatment system, the world's leading image-guided radiotherapy system. The best gauge of the opportunity that is present here, the richness and texture and the quality of life that the community affords, is captured through the perspective of its people.
With a baby on the way, we're just very excited with where we are in our lives, and we couldn't be happier to be living in this community.
Well, we have 2 wonderful children, ages 13 and 10, and their interests are varied. We have one that's very interested in music and dance and expressing herself in that sort of way, and art, creative, and the other one is very interested in athletics. Sports of any kind that are associated with a ball, baseball, basketball, football. I think about the opportunities that they would have here in Erie as they grow older, and they would still be able to cultivate those interests because of the variety of activities that are afforded here in Erie.
Erie is a great place to raise a family. I think there's, from education to, friendship to activities to do, there is a huge variety of everything you could possibly want.
Erie has many wonderful characteristics and traits, but one of which is that it is a community of neighborhoods, caring individuals that look out for one another. It is a diverse background and ethnicity that seemingly cares for one another despite what your affiliation or your preference or your religious beliefs are.
So we've become a very diverse group. We're kind of like a mini UN here. And to me, it just adds to the fun and the kind of enjoyment of being in a workplace that has so many different cultures to learn about and to celebrate. There's just a lot going on, and there's really, our young guys know that. I mean, there's very little, dissatisfaction in the life that Erie offers them. They really have integrated into the community. A lot of them play ball at the colleges, soccer players and such, and they have a bunch of friends. And I think they love the little kind of island of diversity they found in America in a small town like this.
Quality of life is great. Housing is affordable. It's easy to find a house. School districts are great. Everything's within a 10-15 minute drive, from shopping to nightlife, entertainment, dining, all the foods and restaurants that you need.
I have 2 boys, and I sure hope they stay here as they grow up. We see it an awful lot when people move out of town and are dying to get back. Once they get outside of town, they realize that this is a pretty special place.
It was great to be able to go away for 4 years for school and then know that there was going to be a job, and wanted to move back to live here because of the safety and the quality of life.
I have always lived in big cities. I've lived in New York City, Boston, Los Angeles. Pittsburgh was the smallest city I lived in. And then I came to Erie, and Erie in a sense has been the nicest place for me to live in, particularly because of this point in my life. I have little kids. My wife teaches at Mercyhurst College. We have a very nice social circle of friends and neighbors.
Erie has always been known as a great place to raise a family, and I would have to say that that's entirely true. We were fortunate enough to have to live near a good school system, to have good schools for our sons to go to. Our son graduated from Collegiate Academy, which is one of the best schools really in the United States.
Erie is big enough to have all the things that you could ever want. There's something different to do every day, but it's also small enough to have that sense of community and the sense of neighborhood.
Erie is home to an exceptional junior hockey team in the Ontario Hockey League, as well as to the Detroit Tigers AA baseball franchise. Arena football and NASCAR racing are also parts of the incredible variety of spectator sports available here.
In winter, we do a lot of ice skating. We're going to start going to Peak and Peak for skiing. And we go to the Y a lot. The kids are involved in team sports there, soccer and basketball and swimming. So there are a lot of activities to do year-round. In summer, we go more around to Presque Isle. We like that a lot. We go to the zoo a lot.
Obviously, I just love the zoo. It's a great place to work, great place to bring my kids, a great place to bring a family. And our community has embraced the zoo so much, and that's really what makes the zoo special. Our zoo here is probably one of the best small zoos in the country, if not a zoo regardless of its size, and is recognized as such across the country by other people in the zoo industry. We've got all the things that a big zoo has to offer, but still maintain the intimacy that makes it really a comfortable place for families. Probably my favorite spot now in the zoo is the children's zoo. It's the favorite spot of my boys as well. It's something that the entire community helped us design, and it's more than just animals. It's plants, it's art, and it's an experience which really makes it special.
And it's just a nice place to live. There's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of different cultural events, whether you want to go to the Greek Fest or whether you want to go to Juneteenth celebrations. There's a lot of different things to do.
There's a million things going on. Last Thursday, we had to decide whether to go see the Earthquakers down at the block party here, or Mambo down at Frontier Park, or a movie somewhere else. I mean, there's just a lot going on. And to me, one of the best things we've done, one of the unexpected, unthought of things we've done, is brought that kind of culture and diversity to this town, which I think is a great addition to Erie.
The arts experience in Erie is very rich and has a great deal of variety, many opportunities for people to both observe and participate in any number of types of things. Things such as the Erie Philharmonic, the Erie Playhouse, which add tremendously to the lifestyle and enjoyment of life in Erie.
I can't imagine a better place to raise a family. All the things we have to offer, from the zoo to the beach to all of the music and arts, and our community has so much that goes underappreciated. It's just a wonderful place to raise kids.
The unique appeal of Presque Isle and Erie's waterfront continue to set the community apart in the recreational and economic opportunities that they afford.
Erie now, while less dependent on the lake and the harbor economically, still has the harbor and the peninsula, and the fact that it's on the lake is one of its major advantages. One of the great things about living in Erie is that there's so much accessible on the water. Within 15 minutes from downtown businesses, you can be at almost any of the yacht clubs and be sailing that on a summer evening.
7 miles of beaches, hiking, biking, and rollerblading trails, regionally renowned sport fishing, unparalleled sailing and boating.
My front yard is basically Lake Erie, and it is amazing. You know, when I back out of the driveway every morning, I take a look at the lake and say, wow, what a wonderful place to be. And it is so different every day. There's so much to do, whether it's sailboats, the Victorian Princess, watching the Niagara go in and out of port. It is just a beautiful, beautiful place to be.
I think Presque Isle is probably one of the most beautiful spots here in Erie. There, even if you just want to sit and look out at the beaches and watch the sunset, but there's also nice walking and biking trails. I love to walk out there in the falls and in the springtime, summers. It doesn't matter really, just to watch the boaters. Even in the wintertime, it's nice to go down there and sometimes just kind of look out at the ice, look at the ice fishermen that are out there. And that's really an attractive spot.
We have such good memories of just staying at a place on Lake Erie with my extended family, and it's something my parents did when we were little, and now it's something that Mark and I and my brothers bring back our children to. We fish, we go on kayaks, and hunt for beach glass. It's just a real special place to bring a family up.
The Tom Ridge Environmental Center was built as the gateway to Presque Isle, a one-of-a-kind interpretive facility for the peninsula that houses exhibits, educational facilities, research laboratories, and administrative offices. The new Bayfront Convention Center features a 28,000 square foot Great Hall for meetings, exhibits, and banquets, and a 13,500 square foot ballroom. Children and family-oriented arts and entertainment are only a part of Erie's allure. It's also a community where one can still find small-town friendship, sincerity, and affordability. And the Inner City Neighborhood Art House, sponsored by the Benedictine Sisters of Erie, inspires children to experience the beauty of the visual, performing, and literary arts in a safe and caring environment. Erie's future is filled with ideas, inspiration, and innovation. It's a community in which the optimism and energy of its people are growing as fast as its economic prospects.
As a self-employed business owner and a family man, I believe the future is bright here in Erie.
What a great place to have a job, to raise your kids, to bring your family.
Yeah, at this point in our life, we couldn't have asked for a better place to live in.
It's small enough to be able to have all the community that you need, but large enough to have anything else that you could want to do.
We welcome you to become a part of this special feeling in this special place.